Wow, Mike, how are you today? This is the Golf Podcast Live. That was kind of cutting out a little bit. Is it just me, or was it good on your end?
I could hear it on my end.
Oh, okay, because it was jumbled up. I didn't hear the music or anything, and then it just kind of went to your screen. So just wondering what happened there. There might be a little bit of a delay. I don't know if my lips delayed when I'm talking right now.
Um,
Uh,
a little bit. I'm just catching
okay,
up to Instagram because we're hooking up the Instagram feed today,
all
and I
right,
was having
sounds
some
good.
technical difficulties.
All right, all right. Well, welcome guys to episode 117. Couple of topics up to talk about today. Pretty exciting. We've been talking about some cool stuff, Mike, over the last few episodes. We had some great guests. Jim McLean can't be with us today, but he will be joining us in November. We talked about spectator ejections and the heckling of their European players at the Ryder Cup, which was fun to talk about. The beer bottle thrown at McElroy's wife, or the cup, I should say, was kind of slapped out of somebody's hand. Victor Hovland talking about his injury withdrawal and the envelope rule debate,
Yes.
right? And everything from the setup of the golf course to Bethpage, green speeds blamed for the U.S. loss, but the Europeans had the better team, and I think they were more prepared.
Oh, they definitely were. Definitely more prepared. There's a lot of wild behavior that happened. We've talked about it a lot. Um, we can probably put it to bed. Gary Player spoke in recently, calling it a debacle, and he
Yeah,
wasn't wrong. People get passionate about that event. We all do. It's a great one to watch. Um, Canadians, I think, are a little bit conflicted because we live so close to the states. Where they're by extension, a sibling in a way. Some Canadians may not feel that right now, but over time, we've always been fans of American sports because we're so entrenched in it. So, but many Canadians are rooted in Europe and the UK.
yeah.
So, personally, I'm a bit conflicted because I partially cheer for Europe and I partially cheer for the States because I love a lot of these players on both sides. So, I don't really feel slighted, when either team wins. I'm happy Europe laid a beating down on the States. And I hope the States, they will come back and they're going to fight for the next one in 2 years because they do. It's rivalry, it's sports, and they're heated about it. They're going to figure it out. So I'm okay with it. Let's wait and see who the next captain is because there's all the talk. It's Keegan's fault. They're always looking for an axe to grind.
Right.
Did Keegan do a good job? Yeah, maybe. He definitely rallied them up to start, but they had their asses handed to them in the first couple days.
Yeah.
Sure made it interesting. Had those first couple days been fairly even, or a point or two difference, maybe yeah, the U.S. could have taken it, but it's live sport, and the passion exceeded the moment, and we had a lot of controversy. But what else would we talk about if we didn't have controversy?
Oh, absolutely. Mike, you raised some really great points. But the topic for today is something that's a little controversial, certainly a hot topic over the last 5 days in the golf space, and that's the PGA Tour announcing that the Sentry will not be contested in 2026 over at Kapalua. Pretty crazy news. I mean, the plantation course in Kapalua, you saying that we're in Canada, we'll always love to see those beautiful vistas and palm trees when we're freezing out here in the winter time, or all of our Americans up north on the northern borders or eastern seaboard. Um, your thoughts on it not being around anymore and them just taking it out?
That event, now it's the Century. For many years, it was the Mercedes, which just had a ring to it. It's all the winners would be there. It's in Hawaii. For those of you who have been there, you know how majestic Maui is, and especially up by Kapalua. It is a beautiful island and a beautiful part of the United States, but it's a difficult place to get to. There's no doubt about it. And here we have a water drought problem. Um, this. You got a new version of the tour that's for profit, and they're going to be looking at everything a little bit differently. Like, take a look at how.
Well, that just all baked out. I mean, they had a water problem,
Yes,
obviously, over the last several months, but they could have nipped this about a lot earlier and found a venue, not last minute, trying to save the event. We're talking about, millions of dollars, vendors, not to mention the owner of the golf course, Tedeschi Kenai, who's actually suing uh, like the Maui Land Management and Pineapple Corporation, I think it's called. It's kind of it's funny that it's called that because of the lack of water management on the island.
yeah. Who would think it's a problem over there? There's a lot of rainfall and whatnot. I'm not a water management expert by any means, but when it falls out of the sky, there's got to be a way we can hang on to it. We suffer from water restrictions here in Vancouver, or the wettest part of Canada, and we can't figure out a way to hold on to it. So we have to watch our water in the summer months. Now, here we are in Hawaii. It's a shame. Why this has never happened before that I
Yeah,
can recall, and I've always been a fan of this particular tournament because it comes during the break in the winter where us in Canada, our weather's pretty poor, and we look forward to the kickoff of the PGA Tour. And so I've always looked forward to this. It's the official start of the season in my mind, and now it's gone. And
yeah,
maybe for good from the looks
for
of it.
good. I mean, this is. I think it's like mismanagement. The PGA Tours really put themselves in a position where when something like this happens, there has to be a contingency plan. They knew months ago that they were having problems at the golf course. Now they're saying that there's other problems with logistics. I'm not sure what that means. They're kind of mentioning a couple of other things like flying out there, getting all the vendors in place, the actual build on the golf course. I'm
Yeah,
I'm thinking it's an excuse for them to actually just pull out and get. And I don't know what Sentry's thinking either, because how can you not find a golf course on one of the islands? There's a dozen that would love the exposure. Think about the tourism dollars that's going to be lost over the course of uh, weeks and weeks on end, right? And like you said, this is a historical event. I mean, in actual fact, it was established in 1953. For those of you who don't know, and I just learned a lot of this stuff. Obviously, I wasn't around. I know we're old, Mike, but we're not that old. And it was founded in 1953. And the field was always restricted to those who actually won golf tournaments the previous year. That's why it was called the Tournament of Champions. And I
yeah,
never liked the fact that they changed that because it was a smaller field or they didn't have enough stars. Let's say a PGA Tour star didn't win the previous year, or if he decided not to show up. So it's been known as the Tournament of Champions from like 1986 to 2013.
yeah.
And it opened up the season, right? It was really neat.
It gave a goal for these players. If they win an event, not only do they get into the Masters and get the points, but they get to be part of this prestigious field in a prestigious place in the world. But when you look at it from a broad stroke, it's a long flight, especially from the east coast of Canada or United States. It's a long flight to get there. Once you get on the island, it's a long drive. You're up way in the corner of the
Yep.
island. It's a single lane road pretty much to get up there. It's probably hard for spectators. I haven't been during the tournament. I've been during other times on vacation
Mm-hmm.
and driven up to the course, and I played the Bay course.
Yep.
The plantation course was under construction the year I was there last, so I didn't get out. But I hung out at the facility, and it was hard to get to. And it's tight. There didn't seem like there's a lot of parking, so they probably shut down the Bay course and they park cars
Mm-hmm.
out on the fairways, is what I'm guessing, because there's not a lot of places. And how many people can actually get there? Like that part of the region, it's not as many hotels. It's not You're not going to get the largest field. And I bet if we could look at the numbers of attendees, it would be one of the lowest attended events on
Yeah,
the
but
tour.
I think that's where the broadcast rights, where they do really well
Yes,
internationally on visually showing the spectacular vistas and views of this resort. And people really enjoyed seeing. I mean, people going up and down the mountain isn't really conducive to a really a, uh, a spectator venue, right?
yes,
So it's not like the Sony where it's completely flat, a YLI, and it's just a different setup and a different look to it altogether. And but it's sad. It's sad to see it go. Hopefully, it comes back. Last year's
yep.
winner, as we see, is Hideki Matsuyama. And
It is sad to see it go. Like, I'll understand the reasoning behind it
mhm,
because, like I said, the PGA Tour operating as a for-profit business, that's going to change a lot of decisions. They've got a new CEO in place, probably grooming him to get rid of Jay Monahan,
yeah,
and they need to change their business model. They've got competition. All of a sudden, they've lost a lot of their key players to this
yeah,
competitive league, Live. Not scared to say the name here. Um,
yeah,
so yeah,
exactly.
there's the playing field has changed literally, and here we're going to lose one. And what happens to the sponsors? Do you think Sentry's going to want to go sponsor this somewhere
Well,
else?
they've got a contract. I was reading until the 35, I think.
Okay,
So they're going to be around, and I'm sure they've tried to address this in some shape or form. But this is a ridiculous amount of money, Mike. I mean, this is really not funny. And the only tournament that really gets an advantage now is the season opener is going to be Sony with a full field event, right?
yeah,
And they're the ones who are really like, because everybody's itching to see some golf. There's going to be a bit of a break. They've got silly season back, nothing happening really in December. And then now at the end of January, we're going to see the Sony Open. And let's not forget who won the last Sony Open. Yes,
yeah,
sir. That's Nick
that's right.
Taylor. And had a
That's right.
Canadian win that and by 5 shots or so. So that was pretty cool to see. And well, listen, I'm looking forward to the Sony, but really sad to see the Sentry go over at Kapalua.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, this Sony is it's not as well attended, but you usually get a decent field, and it's a great setting. It's a technical course. It's a bit shorter. You need to place your ball properly there. You're going to get
Yes.
blocked out. So it usually produces a good winner. But
Remember when Hideki won there? Or was that a few years back?
I
I mean,
believe so.
the way the big hitters were out, and it's all the people who are like strong iron hitters and were able to shape the ball really well and control their yardages. I mean, it's more of a player's course. It's an old course, and yeah, it's very scenic too.
Yeah,
It may not be as long as some of the courses, but they've really moved things back and planted trees. And I like the old style course where if you're a good enough player, you're going to cut through certain holes or play off of different holes. Some of the guys were playing off of 18 onto another fairway back in the day,
yeah,
just a few years back.
yeah. Well, it's akin to the RBC Heritage with that course. It's you need to place your ball. You need to plot your way around the course. You can't just grip it and rip it, dump and chase style golf where you just hit as far as you can, wedge it out onto the green. Yeah, the players have to think a little bit and be in position, and there's a need for some of that. These courses are getting encroaching 8,000 yards, par fours that are 500 yards. And I look at these holes and I'm thinking, okay, great. I've got at best I hit it 260 off the tee. Depending on elevation and some other factors, and if the wind's behind me, maybe I can get a little longer. But even if I hit it my longest, say I get it up to 275, I still got 225 in
Yeah.
to insane like that. It's unbelievable how far these guys hit it. and they're hitting these. They're 325 with their driver, and then they got an 8 iron in to a
Mm.
500-yard par four. It's
They
insane.
still got to play. You know what I always say, Mike? They still got to play golf. They still got to hit those greens. I don't care how close you get it to the green. Some guys are very good with the driver. They're very straight, but they don't have a short game. You got to put it within a couple of feet, and then you got to have all your putts go in, right? So you could get it as close as you want. I mean, you have players on the Champions Tour still going in with their irons. Some of these guys are in their 60s now, and they're hitting shots with their 5, 6 irons or their 5 or 6 hybrids, or even a 7 wood,
Yeah,
just to get in there and and they're able to control things. Look at Barnard Longer, big high ball flight with hybrids and woods, and he's able to stick to greens and do everything really well. But back to the Sentry just for a minute. We had Bob Harry get back to us. So we reached out to a few acquaintances and friends of the channel, and he wrote a quote for us. He wrote, "It was unfortunate that the course was deemed not suitable by tour standards, and even more so that they could not find a suitable replacement venue. It is very rare for the tour to cancel any event, and this will raise concerns about the PGA Tour's future in Hawaii." Now that's kind of that last part's kind of a bold statement. The
yeah.
future of the PGA Tour in Hawaii. Now I've seen a few headlines, and what does that mean? I mean, will they just not want to just go to Hawaii, or is it the future of the Sentry altogether? Are they going to change venues?
I think that's all on the table. Because
Yeah.
Hawaii, obviously very isolated. It's a good, I live here on the coast. It's a 6 hour flight from here. It's all water. I
Mm,
look out that window. I'm like, I hope this plane makes it. But it's hard to get to, and you're creating logistical challenges and expenses that are going to be big topics at the boardroom table of the PGA Tour right now. There is You have to consider the cost of setting up events in these isolated locations. And yes, they're gorgeous and everything, but you're trying to make a profit off of the tour. So they're going to have to consider all of these things. So the Sentry could be done, but if it's gone, then there's no point in sending the whole camera and production crew out for the Sony. That could be gone too, right? It
yeah.
just from a business perspective, it makes a lot of sense. The fans and the viewers won't like it because we all enjoy, in Canada watching Hawaii on TV. It's relaxing, but I have a feeling it's all in jeopardy over there. So we might see those two events completely rescheduled somewhere else, and maybe it's somewhere down in Mexico, down in the Baja. That's easier to
So
get.
no more Hawaii swing. We're going to have the Mexican swing to open the,
We
the
could, yeah,
season. Yeah.
100%. Could
Or
be.
they might just start in California, right?
You
Uh,
already have the Palm Springs event, the American Express. Um, and pardon me if it could be called something else now. I'm actually going to be down there this January uh,
mhm.
at that event, which is going to be great. But they're already down there, so maybe they could go to Utah. There's some beautiful golf courses in Utah that we saw this weekend. They could work in California. There's a lot of other golf courses down there. Just down the end of the road is Cabos. You have Diamana. You have now I don't know these courses. I haven't been on them in years, so I haven't seen the new courses and if they bode
Mhm.
well for viewers and spectators. But we know it's beautiful in oceanside property. They could have that sense and feel of Hawaii if they went down to Cabo, and they
Yeah.
would probably be very welcomed. And it's easy to fly to. It's a couple hours from LA. It's 4 hours here from Vancouver. Probably 4 to 6 hours from the East Coast. Florida is even closer. A lot of the guys are down there. So we'll see. I mean, I'm just throwing stuff up in the air right now. It could be one of the Caribbean islands, but I think they're going to, if they move, it's got to be somewhere that makes sense where they can get spectators to, cost of traveling, sending all, you know how big the production is. to the camera crew and everything.
Oh yeah, but I think they love it out there. You know what? I don't see it completely leaving. I don't see this. The Sony is such a staple, and so is Kapalua. I think they're going to get their shit together and make this happen. I think it's exciting. There's too much tradition unless they really mess things up, because I don't see the guys on the senior or champions tour. Because what's happened with all the events that lost their venues, the Champions Tour has picked up that mantle and ran with it with all the old golf courses, and they've kept them in play through the Champions Tour. And I don't mind. Imagine having the Champions Tour West Coast Swing with those three tournaments, Waialae, Kapalua, and Hualalai. That would be great for the Champions Tour. Who cares? I think those guys would enjoy it with Tiger coming in. I think it'd be really cool. It'd be really cool to see that, because I'm looking at the winners and the tradition of this event, and maybe some of the younger people working at the PGA Tour in Point Verde have no idea or really don't really feel what's happening. But everybody's won there. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Sam Snead, going all the way back to the very first player. But Johnny Miller's won there, Gary Player, Tom Watson, Lee Trevino. Anybody knows anything about golf, these people are actually the legends of the game, and they've all won at Kapalua. And our era, where we would most famously know these guys, would be back in 1997. Tiger won there. Then 98, Phil won there. Then David Duval. Then Tiger won, Woods, Jim Furyk, Sergio Garcia, Ernie Els. Remember all the playoffs, especially the one in 2000 with Tiger Woods and Ernie Els. And Ernie Els was, they were seeing each other shot for shot. Whenever Tiger made a putt, Ernie made a putt. They were like, it was wild.
That was one of the most epic duels for a championship in golf history. Like it's got to be in the top 10 at least. Maybe
it's got to be on YouTube.
It's
got to be on YouTube. Yeah, the 2000. It was called the Tournament of Champions. I don't remember who the sponsor was. It Mercedes. It was another sponsor, but it was fantastic. It was so great.
Yeah.
And then
was it not the Mercedes?
It was the Mercedes. You know what? I think it was the Mercedes.
Pretty sure it was the Mercedes.
Because before that, it was the Infinity or something. And then, then it was the Hyundai Tournament of Champions in the mid-2000s, where like Patrick Reed and Jordan Spieth won.
It was definitely that. I want to see what year it changed.
Yeah, and it was just so many great players. Hideki Matsuyama obviously winning. But then you're going to have the odd player who's not a big name, right? Because maybe like in 2024, you had Chris Kirk win and had Sahith Theegala finish second. And so those aren't like household names by any means, but you can't always have like the Tiger Woods of the world and the top players winning all the time.
Yeah. Well, it makes a great story when some of these lesser known players break through and win. And it was 2009 was the last year that Mercedes ran sponsorship. So it's changed a little bit from there. And we seem to have the Sentry's bought in for the long term here. But that could all be on the table. If they're not getting this prestigious slot on the PGA Tour's schedule, along with one of the top tier events, that sponsorship contract could be in jeopardy.
Yeah, because weren't they playing at La Costa before? They weren't playing in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
So pre-1999, I think they, we're talking about this, but they weren't even playing in Hawaii. They moved to Hawaii in '99. So, it's really interesting. But we're talking about a lot of money, and I think the money is part of the problem, Mike. The prize fund is $20 million for this event. And so not only do you have the champions, but you have everybody in the top 50 in the FedEx Cup point system.
Yeah.
And then you got players like Rory who wouldn't show up, right? You'd have a lot of top players who didn't even like going. And that could have been a problem as well, is not getting the big names to show up because they don't want to start their season so early, or they don't want to make the trip all the way to Hawaii because they're in Europe.
Imagine like if say Rory's at home in Ireland. to get even with their private jets, it's still a pain
Oh,
in the ass.
poor
Yeah,
Rory's got to get in a
I know,
jet and go
believe
to
me,
Hawaii.
I'm not feeling sympathy for these ultra millionaires, but they if you didn't need to go, you'd question it, right? And regardless of whatever player it is, if you lived in Europe and you've got to now take a 12 or 18-hour flight over to Hawaii, or if they live in Florida, to get to Hawaii, it's got to be 8-10 hours. It's a pain. So
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
don't need to do things, certain inconveniences will get omitted from your schedule really easily,
yeah. Yeah,
right?
so this is interesting, Mike. I completely forgot. So the previous venue was the Desert Inn Country Club in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes, that's I've got it up here too,
And
right?
then they went to La Costa in California. So we were on the right tip that if they were to go back to California, because then the West Coast swing starts right after Hawaii. So if they started in Hawaii, that logistically would be a lot easier for everybody to start on the West Coast, have an extra two events, or just keep the Sony. Because Sony obviously is tied in with Japan and that sponsorship, and it's ideal for them because it's sort of in between the US and Japan,
Yeah.
kind of sort of in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Right?
Well, they're right there, and I've just got the map here. They're a bit north of San Diego. There's Temecula. Where is? Let me just get to the desert, because they could just drive to the desert, or a
Yeah.
20-minute flight, or however long it takes.
Oh, so yeah, the Desert Inn Country Club
There it
was
is.
until 1966, Mike. So from
Yeah.
1953 to 66, they had that event. So there's so much tradition. Like as far as American golf goes,
If they went
like
back
I
to La
mean,
Costa, it would
yeah,
be beautiful. Um, they could then replace the Sony with something that could go down to Mexico and then up to Palm Springs.
yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see what the schedule shows. See how the new year develops. Yeah, so they relocated to Maui in 1999, and
Mm.
so that's very cool. That's very
And
cool.
a lot of the players they know it's a hassle to get up there, so they bring the entire family.
Yeah, you make a trip
Right?
out of it. I mean, what a
So
great way to start your year.
yeah, and the ones that enjoy themselves over there are probably the ones that do that, and they
Yeah.
get there well in advance, and they just enjoy it. So that's the way to go about it. So,
Well,
but we'll see.
even the Champions Tour starts over at Hualalai, and yeah, even Two Gloves Gainey has punched his ticket to Hualalai. So I love, Hawaii's great. I've been there once. I was in Honolulu for a gaming event with my son, and got a chance to enjoy the town, the city, the beaches, and the
Yeah,
different
Honolulu
spots.
is it's amazing, right? I've been there a couple times. I've been to Maui, been to Honolulu, and it's wasn't what I expected. Put it
Yeah,
that way. Right? You see things on TV, from
growing up watching Magnum PI.
100%, and then even Dog the Bounty Hunter. Then when you get there, you realize it's more. But listen, it's more. It's
Oh
more
gosh!
Dog the Bounty Hunter than it is Magnum PI. I'll put it that way. It's like
Right, right,
when
right.
I got
Yeah,
into Waikiki Beach. There's a couple blocks. It's beautiful, but once you get out of that area into the perimeter blocks, it's dodgy.
yeah. In the city, yeah, the homelessness is, and the problem with drug. I don't know what their crime, what their crime rate's like, but the homelessness was surprising. I had no idea.
It's bad,
The,
and it's
it's
been
beautiful.
pretty.
Like anybody
Yeah,
comes to visit, if it's very safe, if it's really laid back and safe, and the food is
no,
awesome, is
no,
great.
no. The food is terrible.
Oh, you had a
Some of
bad experience.
we were there for like 10, 12 days. My best meal I had was at PF Chang's. And we tried. We went all over the place, and we
So
just
we
kept
went. We went. They
picking
have
dog
these
shit.
new. I was there 2 years ago. They had food truck lots all in the city. and it
Oh,
was fresh food made on the spot. Everything from like bakeries to pizza to vegan pastas and Chinese food.
yeah,
It
I
was
missed that.
incredible. It's all fresh on the spot, right?
I missed that. Yeah, no, that's now a buddy of mine lived there. Do you remember DJ Quicksilver?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I
Yes,
do
yes,
remember from the mid 90s. That guy who woke up with
yeah,
a lampshade on his head.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, 100%. But he booked me for a gig there. I headlined this massive event,
okay.
and it was pretty cool. But I made a trip out of it, and
Right.
there was one day we went off the beaten path that Jason took us on a tour, drove us around, and we drove through tent cities and stuff. And so now the
Really?
next morning, I'm talking about it in a restaurant, and the guy leans over next table to me. He's in the army, and he
Mm,
looks. He's like, "Sir, yeah, don't go off the tourist zones, by yourselves. It's
oh, I
really
see.
dangerous." Right? He pointed it out because I saw there was tents out everywhere. It was a homeless bonanza,
Mm,
and I mentioned we were with a local, and he's like, "Oh, okay, okay, well, that's you're fine then." But
yes.
the tourists are warned not to get too far out, and a couple nights we went bar hopping, and those were some seedy bars. Like
Oh
as a
boy.
DJ, I've been in all kinds of clubs over the place.
Yeah, stick to the resorts, It's
There
especially
was some dirty, sturdy, seedy bars
oh boy.
around Waikiki Beach, but Maui was different. That was more the vacation vibes, and there's a couple nice places and whatnot, and different type of trip, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's but yeah, that's what it is. What it is. So
Well, I tried to get on YLI. I wasn't able to. I tried to use our media credentials to do something there, but it didn't work out. Obviously, it's a private golf club, and it was established in
shocking.
'65, 7,000 yards, and that event. In essence, what does it mean now, Mike? The PGA Tour is a for-profit organization now, right? Now, all
That's
of
right.
these events were like Friends of Hawaii charities events. Like, what happens with all of the charitable work uh, that goes on?
Well,
I'm sure it will still go on, but the organization itself will be a for-profit.
they've raised a ton of money for the communities, and the charity component is a massive aspect of a nonprofit organization, especially one as large as the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're allowed to make money as a nonprofit. That's not the thing. But they're going to be changing their mantra to be focusing on profit. So I think they have to keep that
Yes.
charitable component up because there are tax benefits to that in the states.
What
But
also helps
it's
out the area they're impacting, right?
well, absolutely,
That's the biggest benefactor of all these charities are all the local charities and organizations. They've raised hundreds of millions of dollars over the years.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's close to $1 billion or something that they've raised since the inception of the tour to help different everything from hospitals to community groups to all kinds of stuff. It's very helpful. So, and a lot of it, like Shriners and all of that, it goes a long
Mm.
way to helping people in medical situations. But that is a topic that we will have to keep an eye on because we are going to see this unfolding over the next few weeks with how they deal with the Sentry, and they might allow players to enter other signature events to make up for missing out on this. So they've got a lot of scheduling and logistics to make up for here. So it's going to give us something to talk about.
Well, I'm still going to look forward to Hawaii. Obviously, it's a long running tournament itself. I mean, that tournament started off in 1965, and we wouldn't remember like Jack Nicklaus winning in 1974 because I was born in 1974.
Yeah,
But going back to the things I do remember, from the 90s on, I mean, our good friend John Cook won in 1992 over at the Sony with Paul Azinger finishing second.
yeah,
You had, it's funny, you don't see guys like this, sort of the Corey Pavins and the Jeff Slumans, the little guys playing all that much anymore. We may see a few players that are smaller in stature and they're able to get the ball around, but in general, the guys are like athletes. They're tall, they're fit, it's just a different game, Mike.
100%. They've got mental coaches, physical coaches, TPI coaches, strength and powerlifting. They all have their own myriad of coaches, but each might be slightly different. But they're healthy. They eat well. They're not at the bar pounding beers after each round, like back in the 80s, probably 90s was a little bit different
70s,
culture out there, and
yeah.
70s. Yeah, they're having a great time. These kids are serious, and it's a whole different league. But
Yeah,
I want to thank.
the days of David Faraday telling his stories and everyone else
Yeah,
is long gone.
they're done.
There's,
If there's any of that, there's only a few players. I'm sure we would hear about it with the social media and media frenzy that goes around right now. We would know all about it. If you look at Anthony Kim, was probably the most wild one on PGA Tour in recent history.
he's still grinding. He's still grinding. That's going to be a great topic. We're still trying to get him on the show. It'd be really wonderful to talk about his journey and what he's doing.
Yeah. Good. Well, we had a good bump on YouTube today. I want to thank everybody who tuned in. That was
Yeah, that's great.
a little more than usual. We appreciate that. And we are connected to Instagram. I can't see it, but the software says we're connected.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you for anybody there. And we will be back in a week. Raf, you want to say anything else?
Yeah, just make sure you follow us. I know you hear this throughout all social media. People say, ring the bell, you follow us. But, it certainly helps us. If you like the content, you like our guests, you like the subjects we talk about, just show us a little bit of support by putting in a comment and liking and maybe sharing if you get a chance, right?
That would be great. Even comment and tell us how bad we are. That's great too, because that helps the algorithm. Just throw it in there. We don't care.
Yeah. You could always, if you comment, we'll see your comments on the feeds. So if anybody does make a comment on any one of our feeds, and we'll try to get back to you as well.